So let's think back to when the world started opening up again. After all that time indoors, the end of the lockdowns brought this wave of, well, really complicated feelings, right? And hey, if you felt anything other than just pure joy, you were so not alone. And that was the big question on everyone's mind, wasn't it? I mean, we'd been waiting for this moment for ages, getting back to restaurants, seeing friends. So why did normal suddenly feel so weird, so abnormal? And that feeling, that's exactly what we're diving into here. If the very thought of getting back out there tied your stomach in knots, I want you to know that was a completely valid and super common reaction to, well, a huge global shift. And we've got the numbers to back this up. In fact, a 2021 survey in the US showed that a whopping 42% of people felt anxiety during the first lockdowns. And here's the thing, that feeling didn't just vanish when everything opened up. Nope, it just kind of changed shape. Okay, so how do we even begin to get a handle on this feeling? Well, it really helps to break it down. Turns out researchers have pinpointed four main types of this reentry anxiety, and just being able to name it, that's a huge, huge first step. First on the list is social anxiety. And listen, this is way more than just being shy. It's a genuine fear of being judged by other people. I mean, after all that time in isolation, our social muscles got, well, pretty rusty. Think about it, right? Our brains literally rewired themselves to think home is safe and people are a risk. Trying to undo that programming, that takes some serious effort. It can make even the simplest small talk feel like climbing a mountain. And this chart here really drives home just how common that feeling was. A survey from the American Psychological Association found that about half of all adults were uneasy about getting back to face-to-face stuff. You can see the breakdown here. 57% of Black adults, 51% of Hispanic adults, a lot of people were feeling this. So what does that actually feel like in your body? Well, it can pop up as physical things, like your heart racing or breaking out in a sweat. Or it could be more behavioral, like not being able to make eye contact, just feeling super awkward and self-conscious. It's that little nagging voice in the back of your head just screaming, "What do they think of me?" Okay, the second type is health anxiety. And this one makes so much sense, right? For more than a year, we were on high alert about every germ, every cough. You can't just flip a switch and turn that off. And the anxiety wasn't just about, oh no, what if I get sick? It was also that really heavy weight of, what if I pass it on to someone I love? And this can show up as just feeling constantly on edge, or even physical stuff like dizziness or muscle aches that are literally caused by the worry itself. You know that feeling? Every time someone coughed in the grocery store, your mind could just go into overdrive. Number 3 is agoraphobia. And this one gets misunderstood a lot. It's not really a fear of open spaces. It's more of an intense anxiety about being somewhere you feel trapped, where you can't easily get out if you start to panic. After we were told for so long that home was the safest place, the outside world, especially a crowded bus or a packed store, could suddenly feel really, really threatening. And for some people, this can trigger some truly terrifying, panic-like symptoms. We're talking your heart pounding out of your chest, feeling like you can't breathe, this intense fear that you're losing control. It's just this totally overwhelming physical and emotional tidal wave. And finally, we have work anxiety. So many of us got into a groove working from home. The idea of going back to the office brought up this whole new mental checklist of things to worry about. The crowded commute, trying to remember how to act around coworkers in person, dealing with customers face-to-face again. It's a lot. The signs? It could be like those Sunday scaries, but cranked up to 100. Or it could be physical stuff, headaches, feeling exhausted all the time, not being able to sleep. Basically, your body reacting to the stress of just thinking about the workday. So as we've been talking about, a lot of these anxieties have very real physical signs, and they often overlap. This brings us to a super important point. Anxiety is a deeply physical thing. It is not just all in your head. Let's look at some of the most common ways it actually shows up in our bodies. First, there's the rapid heartbeat. Your heart just starts pounding, right? That's your body's fight or flight system kicking into high gear. It thinks there's a threat, but the threat is just a thought, which feels incredibly bizarre. Then you might get dizzy, feel lightheaded. That's because the anxiety is messing with your breathing and your blood pressure, creating this disorienting feeling that can actually make the anxiety even worse. You might also notice muscle tension. Your shoulders creep up to your ears, your jaw's clenched tight, and you might not even realize you're doing it. Your body is literally bracing for an impact that isn't coming.
And of course, that classic terrifying feeling that you just can't get a full breath. It's one of the most frightening physical signs because it can make you feel like you're in actual danger, which just feeds that whole cycle of panic.
Okay, deep breath. We've named the feelings, we've talked about how real they feel in our bodies. Now, for the most important part, what can we actually do about it? Let's shift gears and open up our toolkit for moving forward. All right, probably the single biggest piece of advice from experts is to take things one small step at a time. This isn't about diving headfirst into the deep end of the pool. It's about slowly wading in. Start with something simple, like a short walk outside. Then maybe meet one friend in a park. After that, you could plan a small get-together. See? They're all manageable steps that slowly rebuild your confidence. And there are plenty of other tools for your kit. For example, be mindful of the info you're taking in. Stick to credible sources. Talk about how you're feeling with someone you trust. Seriously, it helps so much. Try to get back into some simple routines. Carve out time to just relax. And this one's huge. It is absolutely okay to set personal boundaries. You get to decide what you're ready for. You know, maybe the most important tool of all is just the right mindset. Remembering that this whole journey back to normal, it's not a race, it's not a competition. There's no finish line you're supposed to be sprinting towards. And I really want to land on this piece of advice from health experts because it's so important. Rushing back into things can actually make your anxiety and stress even worse. The real key here is to take it slowly. Give yourself permission to go at your own pace. So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question. Just for you, what's one small, totally manageable step you can take for yourself today? It doesn't have to be anything huge, but it's a start. And right now, that's what matters most.